Hello and welcome to TFA Analysis. Please subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.
The British government is running away from its responsibility. This week they came up with an announcement and have signed an agreement with Rwanda that they will be transferring all asylum seekers in the United Kingdom to Rwanda, meaning all those arriving, running away from persecution from their home country. Upon arrival in Britain, they will be immediately transferred to Rwanda, and that is where they will sit and their document will be processed while they will be in Rwanda. And the agreement has been signed already.
So from today, our new migration and economic development partnership will mean that anyone entering the UK illegally, as well as those who have arrived illegally since January the 1st, may now be relocated to Rwanda. This innovative approach, driven by our shared humanitarian impulse and made possible by Brexit freedoms, will provide safe and legal routes for asylum while disrupting the business model of the gangs. Because it means that economic migrants taking advantage of the asylum system will not get to stay in the UK, while those in genuine need will be properly protected, including with access to legal services on arrival in Rwanda, and given the opportunity to build a new life in that dynamic country, supported by the funding we are providing. The deal we've done is uncapped, and Rwanda will have the capacity to resettle tens of thousands of people in the years ahead. And let's be clear, Rwanda is one of the safest countries in the world, globally recognized for its record on welcoming and integrating migrants. Later this year, it will welcome leaders from across the Commonwealth. And before the pandemic, in 2018, the IMF said Rwanda was the world's fourth fastest growing economy.
So looking into it and understanding, under the 1951 Refugee Convention, the obligation to refugees is not to send them back to the borders of their country, of the country they fled for fear of persecution. They are not to be sent, because most of these asylum seekers and refugees are coming from Africa or Middle East, in which they are still close to Africa. And if you are sending them back there, that is where the problem is coming. And that is where this issue, this decision by the British government have received a lot of condemnation from many politicians and men of God, even in Britain. Meaning that decision is not in accordance with the laws of refugees, governing refugees. And then from what he says while in Rwanda, they will be examined. They will be examined to know whether they are truly refugees. And if truly they are refugees, they will be recognized. And after the recognition, after they will be recognized as refugees, where will they be? Stay in Rwanda? Or they will go back to Britain? That one, they have not talked about it. But I am sure they will remain in Rwanda. And if they remain in Rwanda, he has not talked about a country called Rwanda. It's an African country. It's a third world nation. It is a less developed country. It is a country with a high rate of unemployment. And if refugees are going there, if recognized, where would they work? Where would they live? What would they do? Or would they just sit in a particular camp and be benefiting from what you will be giving to Rwanda? And according to the United Nations organization, a refugee does not become a refugee because of recognition, but is recognized because he is a refugee. So it should not be based on observing, examining, and questioning people. Because the whole truth is, many people who truly are refugees are being rejected and sent back to their country, like what happened in 2019, 2020, and 2021, when United States of America sent more than 80 Cameroonians back home. Upon arrival, they were arrested, and that is the persecution they are running away from. But they were examined in United States of America and said they are not running away. Their country is safe. They can live in other parts of Cameroon. But upon arrival, that is what. And many people who truly are not running away from anything, those are the people benefiting. And those are the people that they are recognizing. Meaning the strategy of recognition, the strategy that they are using to recognize refugees is not being done properly. And these are the things that are bringing in a lot. Because if somebody is leaving a country, the first thing you have to look into it is which kind of country, and you have to follow detailing to understand that country. Africa is not a place to joke. All African countries are under a terrible leadership. And this is the first thing many of them are running away from. The government, they are embezzling everything for themselves. And there is high rate of employment. So if somebody is living in a country that you believe is a safe country, the person cannot do well there. In any means, business, you cannot do well. Because the rate of taxation is too high for many people to stay there. And these are the things they have to take into consideration. Not just taking any decisions at any time. The main reason that they came up with this attitude, with this issue, that they want to cut the flow of unwelcome refugees and to destroy the smuggler, those who are smuggling refugees, people are benefiting from. From his statement, he said many have turned this into business, but they are using by who? Those who are running from persecution. That is where they have turned. They are not doing it for people like those who are coming, maybe going to Britain by boat. They pass through many countries to Libya or to Tunisia or to Morocco. And then there, that is where they are meeting those who are struggling to put them in the boat and maybe manage to take indirect way for them to reach a European country. But the first thing is where these people are coming from, not those who are manipulating and benefiting from them on the way. The chain can never be cut. It's very difficult because they are sitting in their own country. These people will come and meet them. So it's very difficult. The only thing is to unite together and find a way how you can reduce the trouble you guys, big country, are causing in other small countries. Because that is the reason behind all the trouble in the world. If you look into it, the best way to do this thing is to stop supporting a corrupt leadership in all small countries. Nearly all small countries, third world countries that you have classified as third world countries are passing through a lot of difficulty because of you guys. You are supporting wrong leadership. You have meeting with them to exploit the little that these people are having for your own benefits. And when they have the children, they are growing up, the youth have nothing to do, are running to where there is something, where you have carried their destiny to, you are sending them back. You are frustrating their lives. You are calling their names and treating them as a second class or a third class citizen. That is why the root cause of refugees is what the whole nation should sit and look upon. Not just struggling to manage what they are trying to do. Look at the root cause. Look at what is happening in Cameroon, the Anglophone crisis. There was a way to avoid it. If the international community could have come in 2016 when this thing just started. But they waited until everything is, and then they are turning and say Cameroon is safe. But people are dying every day. Look at what is happening in Nigeria. Nobody is coming in. But when it would come out and many people will be running away, that is when they will come. Look at what is happening in many African countries. China is exploiting everything and they're allowing these people with nothing. American exploiting. All countries exploiting Africa. allow them with nothing. And when their youth are struggling to look for where they are carrying their resources to, let them go and sit there. Maybe they will have something. Then you say, no, let them disappear and go back to Africa. Go back to their home country, the continent. That their main aim is zero tolerance of irregular migrants arrival. And then another question I want to ask is, what would happen if Britain succeed in this plan? If they succeed to send the people out there to Rwanda, what will happen? I will tell you that it will set a bad example for other European countries that are hosting the refugees. And these people will struggle by all possible means to create partnership with other third world countries and send, because this will be a little bit cost, the cost will a little bit be reduced upon them. And they would copy this bad example, and refugees will be sent to danger zone again. And that is how killings will continue. If this continues, the United Nations needs to address this problem, because if a country like Britain is prepared to transfer its humanitarian obligation to Rwanda, the working of the Refugees Convention is in great need or urgent need of reform. They have to check it and correct a lot of things in it. And then I also came to talk about Rwanda accepting this. They are not accepting this for any benefit, for any reason, but for benefit. They are turning it into business, because this guy will be using this to benefit a lot. Because the Britain, they will be the one to be sponsoring and paying for the well-being of all the asylum seekers that will be in Rwanda. They will be sent to Rwanda. And Rwanda, knowing Rwanda very well, and knowing that Rwanda is an African country, 60% of what will be sent on for each individual asylum seeker would not be given. It will remain with them. And that is why they are coming in strong for this agreement. And that is why they are so happy. Because if you just listen to the foreign minister of Rwanda, he said that they don't want any asylum seeker from neighboring country. Meaning, if you are an asylum seeker and you are wishing that, okay, they are transferring asylum seeker from Britain to Rwanda, okay, you should just live directly to Rwanda and seek asylum, you will not have it. They say you must go to Britain and send, because when you go to Britain and the Britain sends you back to Rwanda, they will pay for you. They will be giving you allowance, and that allowance, Rwanda will be benefiting from it. The government of Rwanda will be benefiting from it. And that is what they want. Listen to the Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs for Rwanda. Listen to him.
This program will be dedicated to asylum seekers who are already in the UK. For other people who want to come to Rwanda to seek asylum, or who want to be refugees in this country, there are existing channels, and those ones will be used. Some of the criteria we'll be considering as government of Rwanda will be, let's say, criminal records, for example, and we would prefer not to receive people from neighboring countries, immediate neighbors, like DRC, like Burundi, Uganda, or Tanzania, but those are just some. What we are going to provide with them is just a dignified life with shelter, with skills for them to be able to socio-economically integrate our society, or to have those skills for them to be able to integrate in the country of origin when they decide to go back to their countries.
I say it is a business for them. It is a strong, a lucrative business that they will benefit a lot from it. They are not going in there to help the refugees crisis in the world. They are going in there to benefit, Because if they were to help, it could have been an opportunity for them to say, our doors, we are opened, because we are not going to maltreat you. We are going to give you the best life. We are open for all Africans who are running away out of the country to see a safety somewhere. Come to Rwanda. But the foreign minister says, do not come. They are not ready to welcome anybody. If you want to come there, first of all, go to Britain. Meaning those who are taking money that the British government want to cut, they will still be benefiting from, because you had to go to Rwanda, to Britain before coming back to Rwanda. Meaning you still have to pay the central fare, you still have to bribe people, you still have to give money, and still have to pass through the Mediterranean Sea. Then you go to Britain, then come back to Rwanda. Because they need, their main aim for this is that money. Because whatsoever the British government will be giving, Rwanda will not give. An African country, Rwanda, Africans that I know, will not give 60%, up to 40% of that money to the asylum seeker. They will not. They will not. And this will also benefit them, because many of them will be employed to work as social workers for the asylum seeker. So it is something that the United Nations need to stop immediately. Now, if not, it will destroy